This week I'm building a piece of wall to mount my gate panel from the Rancor Pit. This is the gate panel you see in Return of the Jedi. I had already made it earlier this week. Other than printing, it only took me a couple hours to get it painted up and everything, so I didn't really think about filming it, and that's my bad. Here I take pink insulation foam and I just start carving out some random cuts into it to get a shape that looks kind of like a hole in a stone wall. I'm not too worried about having sharp edges in the corners, because what I'm going to do is, after I get this assembled, I'm going to take air dry foam clay and I'm going to cover it. Here I'm just seeing which way I like better after I made it, which way should be up and which way should be down. So then I take the air dry foam clay. Here I got this tub from Hobby Lobby, which is about 30 miles away from me. I like the clay from there because it's really inexpensive. I think this only cost me $4 for an entire tub, which I'm going to use on this. In fact, I used the entire tub plus just a little bit from another tub. I force it into all the corners. It sticks to the pink clay or the pink foam very well. I think if I was going to make any change to how I did this, I think I would have put even more contour into the pink foam clay to make it less rectangular and more have no real structural look to it. But otherwise, as you see, it starts to come together. You can form on this for quite a while before it starts to get a film on the clay. Once the film starts, it's a little harder to shape it. If you do need to make some changes and you're working with it, you can always add a little bit of water. It is water-based. After about 24 hours, there's a strong, thick film on it that you can paint on. I recommend doing a primer coat if you can. I didn't have anything to prime this time, and I went straight to painting with this brown acrylic paint. It goes on okay, but if you try to put the second coat on while it's still wet, it will try to pull the first coat off. That's why doing a primer coat is recommended. It did take me 2 coats, 3 coats in some areas to get this fully covered before moving on to the next step. Here I am putting on the final coat, and then while the final coat is wet, I take dirty paint water and I start to just sponge it on into the crevices. The goal is to make this look like stone, and this method has worked for me in the past. You just paint it on in areas that you want, and then you take a damp paper towel and start to pull it back off. You will feel like you're pulling more off than you are putting on. I do this a couple times, once while it's wet, and then I will come back and do it a second time after everything is dry, and then I will let it dry for another couple hours again, and that should be it for this project the way I did it. Speaking of the initial panel, I did print 2 of them. Here you can see the print lines and how much effort I had to put into finishing it. I did it using a different method than usual. I decided to take resin from my 3D printer, my resin printer, and use that to fill in the areas. It was a messy job for me, probably because I'm messy. Here are the lights. I got these from Temu. They came with like these rubber grommets, but I modeled this up so that after I take the grommet off, it snaps into place and they don't come out, do not require any glue or anything to hold them in place. I decided to, for me, what is being fancy, wire up 2 buttons. The top button will control the top light, and the bottom button will control the 2 bottom lights. My assumption is that when the bottom lights are lit up, that means that the gate's down. When the top light's lit up, the gate's up. If all 3 are lit up, the gate's in motion. I mean, we don't really see much of that. You can see the bottom lights light up when Luke throws the skull at it, and that's what gives me the idea that all of them are lit up when it's in motion, and then the 2 bottom ones means it's down. Being it's holding a Rancor, you want to make sure you know it's down. That's why there's 2 lights on the bottom. At least that's the story that I tell myself. After gluing this in place, this panel is done and ready to go on the wall. If you would like the other panel that I made, along with 3 LEDs to go in it, I will pick one random commenter from this video, and I will send you the panel I printed, unfinished. You can turn it into whatever you want yourself, along with the 3 LEDs that fit in it. Just comment on the video below that you enjoyed this video, and as long as you're in the US, because I don't have that kind of money to ship overseas, unfortunately, I will be sending someone a 3D printed panel to make their own version of this. Here it is, mounted on the wall just behind my Boba Fett helmet. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching.